Hi, I'm Paula Sullivan, based in Blessington, County Wicklow in Ireland. And I'd just like to share some techniques that I use with my clients for dealing with anxiousness. Now, if you're feeling anxious all the time, it might be worth just checking if you're on any medication, because some medications can produce similar feelings. Palpitations, weakness in legs, shortness of breath, etc. So just rule that out first. Secondly, if your feelings of anxiousness are not a result of any medication, I'd say to you that nothing happens by itself, it just seems like it does. So if your body is producing the feelings of anxiousness, it's because you've triggered the stress response in your body, the fight or flight. And this is a primitive response we have, and it's perfectly normal and natural. But sometimes it's triggered too much. And basically what triggers it are many different things. It can be a thought or a fear, it can be a memory or a picture. Many different things can trigger the stress response. But when the stress response is triggered in the body, basically the oxygen that's in around your brain goes down into your heart and lung area. And then cortisol and adrenaline, which are in the body naturally, get produced in excess. And what these really serve to do is to produce enough energy and oxygen and adrenaline for you to fight or flee, basically. But most people find they're not in a situation to fight or to run away from it. So they're kind of left with all these things happening in their body, all these chemicals being released. And suddenly they find maybe that they might have weakness in their legs or weakness in their arms. They might discover that they can't think clearly. They might discover that they have tummy trouble all of a sudden, they have to run to the bathroom. Or they might find that their breathing has become shallow or their heart is beating rapidly. And because they can't think clearly and they don't know what's happening, they start to panic. It can create a panic attack in some people. Some people think they're having a heart attack. It's quite a frightening experience, and I would have experienced it myself before I did my training. It can be easily broken. This pattern can be very easily broken with just a few simple techniques, two of which I'm going to share with you today. And the first one I teach my clients is an anxiety breathing technique. Now, this technique can be used for many different things, and the benefits are huge. Not only will it reverse the response of the fight and flight, it helps your blood pressure return to normal. If you have high blood pressure, over a period of time of using this, it has been proving to lower blood pressure. It helps your memory and concentration as well, because the oxygen stays up near your brain most of the time. So you're actually able to think more clearly and remember things better. Energy levels increase as well. If you're using this over a period of time, you'll notice that you'll be less fatigued as well. I've been using this for a couple of years now, and I use it daily. I would incorporate it into my daily routine and suggest you do so as well. And then it's not you don't have to wait till an emergency comes along for you to try and remember it, because you won't remember it, because the oxygen will be away from your brain at that stage. So if you can form a nice habit of this now, it'll really help you if you do absolutely need it then, And there's a lesser chance of actually needing it once you do incorporate this into your daily routine. So I would use it morning and night before I go to sleep. I do it when I wake up in the morning. I would use it if I'm stuck in traffic, or if I'm in a situation with my children where they're irritating me or something like that. I would use it, or like that, if you're delayed or anything like that, where the stress response might be triggered, you can use it. So I would suggest sit quietly now for a moment. You can close your eyes or you can leave your eyes open, whichever you prefer. And I'd like you to imagine, just briefly, just breathing in very, very slowly, imagining that the breath is coming in from the tips of your fingers and it's traveling all the way up your arms, up to your head and your chest. And you're breathing in, feeling of calmness. And I'd like you to imagine now breathing out very slowly, imagining the breath is traveling down your body, down your legs, through your feet and toes. And you're forming a feeling of calmness around you. And you do this a few times. Initially when you start, you might do it for 2 seconds in and 2 seconds out. But as you get good at this, you can bring it on to 3 seconds or 4 seconds in and 4 seconds out. The longer and deeper the breath you take, the better it'll be for you. And you'll feel almost immediately, you'll feel yourself calming down. And you'll feel yourself relaxing. And if you can tell yourself at the same time that I am calm, I'm relaxed, I can handle anything that comes my way, you'll actually bring your mind and body back into sync with each other. Okay, so try that now. Just breathing in very, very slowly, all the way up to your head, chest, and breathing slowly out. And already you'll probably start noticing the benefits of this. And start telling yourself, I'm feeling calm, I'm feeling relaxed, I can handle anything. And what you do is you start breathing in You start breathing out. If you use this daily, you will incorporate it into your daily routine and you'll stop the stress response from happening. Unnecessarily, that is, because we all need it at some stage. The second thing I would use with my clients, which is very, very useful, is to be aware of your thoughts, because your thoughts can trigger the stress response. So if you're aware of your thoughts, you can really catch it before it happens. You can come straight in with your breathing technique, and then you come in, because you have the oxygen back in the brain where you need it, you can come straight back in with the right kind of thoughts. Now, just to tell you about thoughts, there's two different types of ways of thinking. There's the worst way and there's the best way. Now, the worst way of thinking focuses on, usually it's the past or the future that it focuses on. And it's usually focusing on something that has happened in the past that you can't change and that you're upset about. Or it might be focused on something that may happen in the future that you don't know about, so you can't control. So both of these types of thinking will actually create stress response, because you usually end up playing some kind of a disaster movie in your mind. It's playing over something which you can't change, and it's getting you more and more upset. The more you play the picture in your mind, the more you bring up the feelings of it, the more upset you get. And you're just triggering the stress response, making it worse for yourself. And there's nowhere you can go with that. You can only go around in a circle with it, And if you're not using your breathing technique, it just gets worse and worse till it'll literally produce a symptom of some kind or an illness eventually. Because cortisol and adrenaline are perfectly healthy normally, but when they're secreted in excess, they can wreak havoc in our bodies, affecting our immune system's ability to protect us from illness. So many illnesses can come. I had a stress-related illness several years ago myself before I embarked into hypnotherapy. And I discovered that through the power of my thoughts, by using meditation and the breathing technique, Reiki, a few different things I used, going out for a daily walk, switching off the TV, lots of different things I used to deal with the stress. I actually reversed the signs of all and the symptoms of all that illness that I had. So I know how this works. So you can easily do this. If you're thinking in the wrong way, if you're not using your breathing technique, if you're sparking that stress response in your body on a regular basis, you can become ill with this as well, So that's the worst way of thinking, and that's what it can do to you. The best way of thinking focuses on how best can you cope with what happens. It focuses on, yes, if it remembers a past memory, you say to yourself, okay, I can't change it, but if that happened to me again, how best would I cope? How could I turn that around? What would be the best I do if the situation came around again? Or you start focusing on future situations and you'll say to yourself, okay, how would I like to see myself coping with future events? How would I like to see myself as a strong survivor? What's the best outcome I could possibly want? Instead of focusing with the worst way of thinking, you're usually focusing on what's the worst thing that can happen and that I can't actually see myself coping. With the best way of thinking, you're turning that around to the other way. You're saying, well, what's the best thing that could happen and how best can I cope? And how best can I cope if the best thing doesn't happen? How can I see myself surviving in the best possible way here? So you start focusing on that way of thinking. That way of thinking will actually provide solutions for you, because your mind can actually come up with an idea for you to deal with. It'll always come up with a solution. Because, if something actually happens, you automatically know how to deal with it in that particular moment. But it's only when we're in our thoughts that we can't figure it out. If you can't see yourself coping, well, then that's the way it is for you. The mind doesn't realize that that's not the reality of the whole thing. And you evoke all these emotions. And like that, you can immobilize yourself with fears, which create feelings of anxiousness, So to avert this, use the breathing technique and bring your mind gently back into the present moment whenever you can. Because if you even focus right in this present moment, there's actually nothing wrong. You're coping in the best possible way with whatever's happening to you right now. It's only when we allow our minds to travel back into the past or into the future, that we kind of lose control over things. We actually have control in the present moment. And the present moment is the only time we can actually change anything. So these are the two techniques I would use. I would use other techniques as well. I use some NLP-based fear phobia cures and stuff like that, where I get people to visualize scenarios that are bothering them, visualize moving into better situations. How do they want to feel? What do they want to be able to react like? All that kind of thing. So if you need any help or support, just give me a call. You can find me on www.iwantabetterlife.ie. Thank you.